India, as you know, has been one of the 18 economies in the world that have been outperforming on per capita GDP growth rate for almost 3 decades. Between 2014 to 19, though, we saw a slowdown in the economy, and it was further dramatically impacted by the COVID crisis and the onslaught on both lives and livelihoods. After having had a substantial GDP decline last year, we are on to a very fast recovery, and most economists would postulate about potentially a double-digit GDP growth rate this year. The challenge for India really is how to sustain about 8% growth between 2022 and 2030, because that is what is needed to produce about 90 million jobs to give employment opportunities to the up and coming, which would be roughly about 60 million net jobs and 30 million of displacement from agriculture to manufacturing and services. This 8% requires about 6.5-7% productivity growth rate increase in India, which means we need to adopt a whole range of high productivity frontier opportunities. They come in three types. Type 1 is India becoming a manufacturing hub for the world. For example, chemicals, auto components, electrical, and there's a lot the government is doing to incentivize that, in addition to being a powerhouse for IT and digital services. The second set of opportunities have to do with India becoming a more competitive nation. For example, take power and logistics cost, which tend to be prohibitive in India. Logistics at 13% of GDP and commercial power tariffs being amongst the highest in the world. And these need to get rationalized through both reform and more competitive models. And finally, a set of growth opportunities around how Indians live and work. For example, urbanization needs to continue to kick in, but that requires development of much more efficient smart cities and shared mobility and a much higher productivity retail model. All of these opportunities potentially could add another $2.5 trillion to India's economic value over the next decade.